let's see, I'm expecting hyperinflation and expensive fuel, which is of course part of hyperinflation, expensive food and other goods, shortages, empty store shelves. Of course, the things I haven't mentioned yet are increasing unemployment. Everybody knows that because it's happening right now, duh. Falling real wages, which has been happening since the 1970s, duh, again. A currency exchange. And then at the end, I'm thinking that after a lot of this nastiness will occur, I'm thinking that there will be a grassroots adaptation to the new situation. You know, gardens and all that good stuff. But now, that's what I'm expecting. This is probably going to be a 2-video video. Let's see. Oh, darn, the counter isn't on. Well, anyway, let's see. Now, okay, just because I think that the collapse will take this form doesn't mean that if it doesn't take this form I will be totally hosed, because I have plans on what would happen if we had like an absolute sudden shit hitting the fan, like an EMP going off, wiping out everything. I mean, what I would do. I mean, I have plans for all that stuff. For example, if the shit totally hit the fan, like we had a big earthquake and it knocked everything out, all the power, all the roads are all crinkled up, I would, in that event, I would really strongly consider bugging out. Now, if there was an EMP, for example, I would certainly bug out. I would load all of my stuff into that big, huge Dodge diesel EMP-proof bug-out vehicle that I spent $7,000 on this summer. I only just got it paid off. But anyway, I would then load up all my gear and head out to a family home way out in the sticks where I have relatives, and I'd load up everything I could, maybe even get my tools from work and try to get it over there. I would have to borrow a trailer, but then I would barter my skills as a diesel mechanic to local farmers in exchange for cobs of corn or whatever. And then, of course, if that happened, there's like a really small mortgage over there. I'd probably just dump my precious metals into paying that off, which would be easy. But then we would have like absolute low expenses, and we could all probably hunker down there pretty well and barter for a little bit of food here and there and enough for taxes and things, but we could probably get by. Wouldn't be fun, but we could get by, and that's the plan. Now, if it's an EMP situation, oh my goodness, it would be touch and go whether or not we would all make it or not, but because like the rolling Mad Max hordes could quite possibly roll over that little town they live in. But let's get back to what I'm expecting. I'm not really expecting an EMP, but if one happens, I'm ready sort of for it, but that's not what I'm expecting. Okay, let's get back to what I'm planning. Here we go. Let's take the first 4 things that I'm expecting. Hyperinflation, expensive fuel, expensive goods, and shortages. Now, the hyperinflation and expensive fuel, expensive goods will probably occur first. Then, after several months of that, we'll probably start having shortages. Because there's like ships on the way, you know, that might not be called back. So basically the store shelves would probably be okay for a few months, you know, especially as people might not be able to buy a lot because everything's so expensive. But anyway, under this situation, my general preparedness should allow me to handle that situation vastly better than most people. For years, ever since like 2005, I've sort of been studying how to live cheap. Ever since I saw the end of suburbia and heard about peak oil and all that nastiness, right then I started making adjustments in my life, getting debt under control and stuff like that. to be able to handle that situation. And back in 2007, when I heard about this economic collapse, that's when I really started kicking it up into high gear and buying bags of rice and whatnot. Like that. And anyway, I just haven't boxed that up or bucketed that up yet. But so my general preps would probably allow me to live vastly better than most people, and my ability to live poor, like eating a lot of beans and rice, things like that, would probably make it so that I could handle that situation better. Now, the people who like eat out a couple times a week and eat like TV dinners and prepackaged foods, they are going to have to learn everything all at once, like how to cook, how to have enough money to buy the basics, and they're going to be hurting and suffering because they don't know any better. They're going to buy bread rather than flour and make their own bread, and they're going to, they're used to eating a certain way, and if they try to continue eating that way or living that way, they'll bankrupt themselves. They'll run out of money, and some of them will probably go nuts and start burning shit when they actually probably have enough money to get the hunger pains gone, if they just knew how. That's one of the things I plan on doing, is helping neighbors, and putting up recipes and things up on the bulletin boards at my condo complex here to allow people, a hint on how to live with this and how to deal with it. So anyway, a lot of people are going to be bankrupting themselves trying to keep gas in their SUVs as they're going around to all of their shopping and everything. They're going to have a learning curve to try to get all their errands all at once, and maybe grab a couple other people and then take somebody else's car next week, But I've already planned for this contingency by buying that geeky little scooter. It's a 150cc engine and it'll travel at 60 miles an hour up a slight incline, and it gets 80 miles per gallon. I figured that was a good compromise between a motorcycle and one of those really small, geeky little scooters. This thing it's not a freeway bike. I don't think you can legally take it on the freeway, and you'd have to be crazy to do it. Unless the mile per hour limit, the speed limit, went down to like 55 again, then it would probably be doable, but not till then. But anyway, I can commute on that scooter all week and make a few shopping trips for a gallon of gas. I mean 1.1 gallons, and I actually can take it to the grocery store, and I have a carrier on the back and a space under the seat, and all together I can put 2 big bags of groceries in there and store it and drive home with it. And when gas starts getting expensive, that scooter is going to be like gold. So, as geeky as it is, it'll be like gold. But having food storage and toiletries and extra clothes will allow me to be more comfortable as I adapt to the new conditions. And I'm already partially adapted, whereas other people are going to have a horrible time adapting. Let's see. It's conceivable that during the hyperinflation phase, when it really starts getting bad, I could possibly take my paltry collection of precious metals and it would be worth a lot more then, and I could quite conceivably buy like an abandoned house out in the sticks, move my dad or maybe another family member there, and start some serious gardening going, and then I would, of course it would probably be too far out of town to really commute to, even on the scooter, so so that would be a weekend thing for me, but I would need somebody there to watch the place.